You know, in our last video, I asked the question if Chadwick was the most profoundly immoral character on Penacony, and to everyone's credit, most people engaged in the discussion. How incredible is that, man? Hats off to us. Some people said no, some people said he was misguided. One person said a weapon can't truly be evil. They are but tools, and it's the intent of the person behind them that drives them. One unloved, fatherless, forgotten, rejected, ugly fish, pseudoplasmic bastard even had the I will spit on your grave when you pass. Wait. Even had the audacity to liken Chadwick and the IPC to our beloved Celestia in the primordial one, a progenitor god hailing from beyond the stars, to which I was furious. Regardless, the comment I saw the most was Chadwick cannot be the most evil person in Penacony because Tizocic II exists. Bold claim, fellas, let's see if it pays off. While on the one hand, there's the lady who's caught so many bodies, eons are looking around wondering what the fuck happened here. Ultimately, was it still right to try her for these crimes given she forgot them all and was now a completely different person? Let's see. When we first come across Tizocic II, we see her with a man who's asking for her help to try and find his friend Ephraim. We learn from the man that Tizocic II, although not recognized by the family, is the Emperor of Golden Hour and the descendant of the dragon. Tizocic puts our ignorance of her aside and asks us to join her in helping her find the man's lost friend. As she herself puts it, goodwill can be spread. The first place we check out is a bar. Tizocic summons the bartender, who profusely apologizes for not having laid out the red carpet for Her Majesty, before telling us that Ephraim did indeed pass through the bar, got drunk, said he wanted to promote profound music, and just left. We proceed to ask passerbys in the local area if they had seen a singing drunk man. After fawning over being approached by Her Majesty, all of them tell us no, except for the one rude passerby who informs us the drunk man was apprehended by the Bloodhound officers. The rude man laughs, wondering how we'd be able to free Ephraim from the Bloodhounds, as surely they don't recognize Tizocic's sovereignty. And just before we were about to beat the bitch out of this nigga, Tizocic simply tells us to pay him no mind and follow her. She's truly a benevolent queen. We come across a member of the Bloodhound family who acquiesces to Tizocic's plea that they release Ephraim for he can cause no harm. Tizocic then anoints us to the rank of Grey Knights before leaving. We continue to talk with the Bloodhound officer some more, who tells us we should not be proud of our anointment, for it is a fake rank given by a fake emperor, and the only reason people treat her as such and address her as Her Majesty is because she's an especially kind soul who's done many acts such as find missing people and items, resolve conflicts, and even help the family. He says she's helped most people in Golden Hour, and although he doesn't know why she calls herself Emperor, she is indeed a good soul. She's sincere, empathetic, and always puts herself in others' shoes. Don't you guys look fucking stupid now, worse than Chadwick? You silly geese. After reuniting the two shitters, Tizocic mentions in passing that she often runs into a group of people who give her trouble, but quickly changes the subject, prompting Clocky to appear and tells us something is wrong with Her Majesty because she's in danger, but she won't tell us. After doing the voodoo on her, she tells us immediately that she's been getting junked recently and refuses to fight back, for she shan't stoop down to their level. She then asks us to deal with them. She meant rehabilitate, by the way, not kill. For she goes on to state violence begets violence, and while she'd like to avoid this at all costs, she no longer has any choice. We come up with the classic plan of having her pretend to be alone and us hide nearby, and then when the hooligans reveal themselves, we pop up, bang on them, take them to the Bloodhound family. Everything's good. When she finally enacts the first part of the plan and appears to be by herself, she then gives a fucking declamation to the entire universe that she's all alone right now, thus prompting the hooligans to reveal themselves and attack her, prompting her to run the opposite direction, completely forgetting where we were. We soon catch up with them, where we learn they are executioners, assassins if you will, who have come for Her Majesty. They speak of some past atrocity she committed, but are crestfallen upon learning she's had her past memories sealed away. It's here we learn they've assassinated her many times in the dreamscape in hopes of getting her to remember her past, but to no avail. Jesus, who are the real monsters here? My god. After fighting them, Tizocic asks us to stop and have them explain why they've been constantly killing her. They say she must remember her crimes, otherwise bringing her back serves no purpose. Tizocic counters by stating she has perfect memory and hasn't forgotten a thing. ever, to which the assassins ask her where was she born, and she can't recall. She then decides she wants her memory back because good people must face their sins. One of the assassins remarks Penacony did indeed change her for the better, but it's a shame because then he just doesn't finish the statement. When we then do some voodoo to help her get her memories back, we awaken in a place called the Papusha Empire, and are standing next to Tizocic II, albeit as a little girl. We learn she is legitimately royalty from this forgotten empire, and that her older brother is currently the king. We go to get flowers for the king, but just then, a soldier busts into the florist and informs us the king is dead, assassinated during an attempted coup committed by Tizocic's second sister. The captain informs us, the Grey Knights, we must take Tizocic and run, for the second sister is coming after all successors to the throne. We flee to the countryside and learn through some exposition that the second sister's rule was short-lived after she herself was ousted in another coup. There's going to be a lot of fucking coups in this story. This then caused Tizocic to become the de facto ruler, but in order to protect her daughter, Empress Dowager, Tizocic's mother chose to rule in her stead. Empress Dowager would soon pass away the moment Tizocic became old enough to rule. Odd coincidence, but her extended family would not grant her imperial authority. Tizocic's conflicts with her regents became rampant, and she was convinced they would soon kill her. We then cut to the throne room, where Tizocic is interrogating one of her generals, who also happens to be her uncle. She's accused him of burning an entire family of 49 to death. She then gives him the option of confessing and being relieved of his duties, or staying firm in his denial and being executed. He soon accuses her of killing the family and framing it all on him in an attempt to get her imperial authority back. He cannot believe this bullshit, charges at her, but is ulti yelled. Tizocic then summons a woman named Lenamar. We learn she was actually the one who caused the fire that killed the family of 49 and did so under Tizocic's orders. We then bring a glass of wine to Lenamar and have the choice to bring her either the poisoned wine or the regular wine. The choice doesn't matter because the next scene cuts to a few months out, where we learn Tizocic was successful in her plan in trading 49 lives for her imperial authority returned to her. She is now a fully fledged Empress Sovereign, powerful enough to judge the rest of the empire. We learn she became paranoid by taking out the opposition, but this only led to more paranoia and more killing in turn. Later, there was another coup attempt that failed, but resulted in Tizocic wiping out this guy's entire family. Yes, even the child and the wife that had nothing to do with it. So there's that. Another coup attempt happened. I told you there's gonna be a lot of them. Next, we learned she didn't like eating ice cream with chicken or some shit. Anyway, this chef got Aladdin'd. Another coup attempt happens after that. This is like the 6th one in this empire so far. This time, however, by the IPC. After that failed, Tizocic had enough and ordered a bombing campaign on Pastrax City, which is where all the coup attempts originate from. Her minister tries talking her down, but winds up on a one-way flight to Pastrax City along with the bombs. She then kills another minister who is like just helping people. I don't know. We then learn that the Grey Knight, who was her most trusted ally and who had been with her since she was a kid, it's also who we were playing the entire time, had freed the revolutionaries and led them into the capital. Realizing this, Tizocic kills the Grey Knight before fleeing to Penacony, where she asks the family to seal away her memories. It's here she would be born again as a kind soul, an empathetic, a loving and generous person who lived only to serve others. After realizing all of this, Tizocic cries like a bitch, and one of the assassins begins to read out her warrant, which includes 70 war crimes and 13 million murder charges. Take her away, and later we learn it was implied she was executed for her crimes. I mean, yeah, probably she was worse than Chadwick. But I ain't exactly on board with the idea of bringing the old Tizocic back for the sake of exacting retribution. The assassin seeking her capture represents a form of justice for the crime she committed. However, their anger upon learning about her sealed memories suggests a desire for revenge rather than justice, which raises the question, should justice be tempered with mercy and understanding of her altered mental state? The tyrant Tizocic had in essence died, but that wasn't good enough for the assassins, because what they wanted was a physical reminder of her death in the form of her body. And that's precisely what they received. Yet amidst the solemnity of her demise, one lingering question remains. In their quest for vengeance, did the assassins truly achieve closure or merely perpetuate the cycle of violence?